The sun had long dipped below the horizon, casting shadows that seemed to stretch and contort with each passing moment. I found myself on an unfamiliar path, surrounded by dense woods that whispered secrets in the fading light. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness, and an eerie glow beckoned me towards an abandoned building that stood ominously in the distance. As I approached, the structure revealed itself as an old, dilapidated warehouse, its windows shattered and its walls adorned with faded graffiti. Intrigued by an inexplicable force, I stepped through the creaking door, entering a realm suspended between reality and surreal. The air buzzed with an unnatural energy, and the dim light revealed walls covered in an unsettling shade of yellow wallpaper that seemed to pulsate with a life of its own. I cautiously navigated through the desolate corridors, the overhead fluorescent lights flickering ominously above me. The air felt heavy, suffused with an unsettling tension. The yellow wallpaper seemed to warp and twist, casting strange shadows that danced along the edges of my perception. My heart quickened, but an inexplicable compulsion urged me to press forward. As I delved deeper into the labyrinthine structure, the scenery morphed inexplicably. The once cold, hard floor beneath my feet gave way to a soft carpet of grass. Blades of green stretched towards the walls, and a surreal sensation engulfed me. I stumbled through this bizarre fusion of nature and man-made architecture, the grass beneath my feet cool and damp. It was then that I realized the peculiar transformation that was unfolding. The grass, with its vivid green hue, was not merely a decoration. It held a malevolent power, warping the very fabric of reality. Every step I took seemed to intensify the liminal space around me, distorting the walls and casting the yellow wallpaper into a chaotic dance. Dread crept over me as the realization set in. The grass was the catalyst for this surreal nightmare. Panic clawed at my chest, urging me to escape the clutches of this otherworldly place. I retraced my steps, the fluorescent lights flickering above and casting grotesque shadows on the ever-changing walls. The yellow wallpaper seemed to close in, threatening to consume me. With each hurried step, the air grew thicker, and the walls seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. My breath quickened, matching the frantic beating of my heart. As I burst through the creaking door and into the cool night air, the twisted reality of the liminal space began to recede. I stumbled into the moonlit clearing outside the warehouse, the echoes of my escape resonating in the eerie silence. The yellow wallpaper and the overgrown grass retreated into the depths of the abandoned structure, leaving me standing alone, breathless and shaken. As I glanced back at the forsaken warehouse, the once pulsating yellow wallpaper now appeared lifeless and still. The overhead lights flickered one last time before plunging the building into darkness. A shiver ran down my spine, and I realized that I had narrowly escaped the clutches of a reality transformed by the insidious power of the grass. The memory of that surreal liminal space would forever linger in the recesses of my mind, a haunting reminder of the thin veil that separates the known from the unknowable. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the suburban landscape. I watched from the front porch as my dad started up the lawnmower, the familiar hum filling the air. The smell of freshly cut grass lingered, tempting me to abandon my toys and join him outside. With a burst of childlike energy, I jumped to my feet and ran towards the backyard, eager to be part of the mundane yet comforting routine of our family life. As I turned the corner of the house, expecting the sight of our newly trimmed lawn, I was met with a disorienting twist of reality. Instead of the familiar backyard, I stumbled into a surreal world. Strange buildings surrounded me, their walls covered in vibrant green grass that seemed to defy logic. The ground beneath my feet, once solid concrete, was now a soft carpet of grass. I looked around, my heart pounding, trying to make sense of this bizarre transformation. Confusion gripped me as I wandered through the peculiar landscape. The buildings loomed overhead, their architecture warped and otherworldly. The grass that covered every surface seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy, casting an eerie glow on the surroundings. Panic set in as I realized I had become lost in a liminal space, a place between reality and the unknown. Frantically, I searched for any sign of familiarity, my small steps echoing through the bizarre corridors. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness, and the disconcerting silence only heightened my sense of isolation. As I turned a corner, I saw a figure in the distance, my dad, still pushing the lawnmower through the strange grass-covered hallway. "Dad," I cried out, relief flooding over me. He turned towards me, his expression a mix of confusion and concern. "Daddy, it's me. What's happening?" I pleaded as I ran towards him, and he looked as bewildered as I felt, but determination filled his eyes. Without a word, he motioned for me to follow him. We navigated through the surreal landscape together, the grass-covered floors beneath our feet muffling our footsteps. The strange buildings seemed to stretch endlessly, twisting and turning in disorienting ways. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we reached a doorway bathed in an otherworldly light. My dad pushed it open, and we stepped through, emerging back into the familiar world of our backyard. The lawnmower continued its rhythmic hum, the sun beginning to set behind the trees. I looked up at my dad, uncertainty clouding my eyes. "Was that real? Or just a dream?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He smiled, ruffling my hair. "Sometimes reality can be as strange as dreams, sweetheart. But we're back now, and that's what matters." As we walked back towards the house, the memory of the grass-covered liminal space lingered in my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had glimpsed something beyond the ordinary, something that defied explanation. But with my dad by my side, the warmth of the setting sun, and the familiar scent of freshly cut grass, I couldn't help but wonder if it was all just a surreal dream after all. I awoke to an unfamiliar room, the air thick with a peculiar scent. The dim light revealed walls covered in a soft, green grass that extended underfoot. Confusion washed over me as I realized I was lying in a bed surrounded by a surreal landscape of grass-covered rooms. The feeling of the grass against my skin was unnerving, and a shiver ran down my spine. Panic set in when I noticed a subtle transformation. My hands, once flesh and bone, were slowly taking on the texture of grass. Horror clenched my heart as I watched the metamorphosis unfold, the green tendrils replacing my skin. Frantically, I searched the room for a way out, but the grass seemed to grow thicker with each passing moment. Desperation fueled my actions as I recalled the only tool at my disposal: an NVIDIA RTX 4090, a powerful graphics card I had recently acquired for my gaming rig. With a spark of ingenuity, I connected the RTX 4090 to a nearby monitor and started manipulating the virtual world displayed on the screen. The power of the graphics card, combined with my knowledge of digital landscapes, allowed me to create a virtual representation of the grass-infested rooms. The lines between reality and digital space blurred as I harnessed the technology to combat the encroaching transformation. Piece by piece, I reconstructed my body in the virtual world, fighting against the invasive grass that threatened to consume me. The room flickered with the glow of the monitor, a strange juxtaposition against the natural greenery that surrounded me. Sweat dripped down my face as I focused on the task at hand, the digital and physical realms colliding in a surreal dance. Finally, with a surge of relief, I stood whole in the virtual world, my body restored to its human form. The grass on the floor seemed to recoil, as if thwarted by the power of technology. Without wasting a moment, I disconnected the RTX 4090, feeling the weight of it in my hands. As I stepped out of the room, the grassy landscape gave way to the cold, sterile surroundings of the real world. The transformation had been averted, but the memory of the grassy liminal space lingered in my mind. I couldn't shake the surreal experience. I couldn't forget the power that the RTX 4090 had wielded in bridging the gap between reality and the virtual realm. Eager to leave the strange place behind, I found myself holding the RTX 4090 like a talisman. However, instead of returning to the ordinary world, I emerged into a room that resembled a gamer's paradise. A sleek, grass-themed gaming rig sat before me, the glow of the powerful graphics card illuminating the room. As I marveled at the unexpected gift, a realization dawned upon me. I'd escaped the grassy liminal space not only with my humanity intact, but also with a gaming rig that seemed to defy the laws of reality. The surreal journey had left me with a bizarre tale and a tangible reminder of the unexpected powers that could emerge in the face of the unknown.